Hello again, everybody. This is Mr. Everything, and I am coming back at you with some Wargaming Wednesday. Wargaming Wednesday is where we get together, we talk about various things in the gaming world, board games, card games, miniature games, painting, computer games, terrain building. Basically just anything gaming related, really. Okay, so I've got a few things that I want to talk about today. It's basically a forum for me to kind of just let you know what's going on and to show some tips and tricks, and also sometimes I just want to work out some things, and I bounce them off of you guys. And I put up a bunch of polls on my channel, which the last time I looked, Napoleonic French and Napoleonic British were far and above any other interests out there. I mean, I included World War II, French and Indian War, 100 Years' War, the medievals, the ancient Roman period. I included all of those periods, and Napoleonics struck as being the biggest percentage of the polled audience. And then I broke down the Napoleonic period into minor nations, major nations, the French, British, Austrians, Prussians, Russians, etc. And we got way like outdistance all the other pollsters was the French and the British. And the Dutch Belgians were a close second to the French and the British. Okay, so this news makes me believe that the 100 Years' War, or the 100 Days War, is what people are interested in. They're interested in the Waterloo Quatre Bras period. So luckily, that's the project I'm working on my figure painting. So that's going to continue on, and maybe that's what brings. Maybe it's a self-perpetuating cycle, because I'm doing Waterloo project, which has the French, British, the Allies, Dutch, Belgians, etc. That people that are interested in those came to my channel. And so when I did the poll, those would be the ones that would answer in that way, because that's what brought them to the channel in the first place. So I understand that, but it was just so great. The percentages were just so great that I feel it's an honest and truthful poll. Okay, so we're going to move on from the polls. I got a couple of things we're going to talk about. The reason why I got these two units of Napoleonic figures out here, I got the British and I got the Hanover here. The reason why I have these out is we're going to do some finals on, like you can see the finals here and there. I'm going to do that for the British. I'm going to do that on camera so you can see how easy it is to make your own finals. We're going to do that. In addition to that, I wanted to show you that I had gotten in my Litco. These are their mid thickness. This is 1.6 millimeter plywood. So this is the mid thickness, 25 millimeter, 100 count. So there's 125 millimeter bases in here. Now I ordered 4 of those packages, so I got 400 square bases, mainly for my fantasy figures as I start to move forward, I'm going to start rebasing figures that I already have to the 1-inch or 25 millimeter bases. And then any new fantasy figures that I get, I'm going to base them this way as well, with the squares instead of the round bases. I'd been putting them on round bases for skirmishing games, but I have really gotten into the Oathmark rule set, and I'm really digging everything that I've read. And I kind of want to, expanding on this, I kind of want to talk a little bit about building kingdoms on here as well, because I think that's one of the strengths of Oathmark. It's a kind of a unique, what's the word? A unique method, or a unique method of designing your army is through the kingdom rules. And I have withheld doing any further boot camp videos for Oathmark until I wrap my head around the kingdom building, and because that's an important part of the rules, and I don't want to mess it up. I don't want to release a boot camp that puts out wrong information or something like that. So we'll be talking a little bit about that. Okay, I'm drinking some tea that I just made this morning from in my kettle. Now I'm going to bring this kettle over to the table. We're going to set it on the table, and I'm going to heat up some water, and we're going to clean some brushes, and I'm going to show you a way to restore a brush that you might think is lost or forgotten and you want to throw it away. But I'm going to show you a technique that you can restore your brushes. Now, what I do is about once a month, I'll go through all my brushes and I will do this technique. Basically, it'll maintain my brushes, and my brushes will last a year or two before I'll need to replace them. So that's something cool. My eyes. Okay, the bright light, the studio light. Okay, so I don't know if you guys recognize that. That's the new XCOM Vigilo Confido. Yeah, confidence and vigilance. Okay, and you probably definitely have noticed these figures in the back here. These are 3 battalions of the Dutch militia, and we're gonna probably put some paint onto these guys before the video's over. Yeah, so really all I've done is I primed them, then I went over with blue, true blue, over the entire thing that I'd primed, and then I went in and painted the painted the pants, either white, as you can see, or gray, with very few models painted with brown, and then I painted their shoes black, and that's as far as I've gotten with these guys. Now, like my who was it? My Nassau troops that had 2 standard bearers in every bag. This also has 2 standard bearers in a bag, but I don't want 2 standards in a unit. Okay, so, but I did mount the 2 standards, and like, this one and this one. Yeah, I'm mounted the two standards, and I'm going to base them, but I'm going to do it kind of like I did these British, and that they will be on separate bases. And then that way, if I need to use them, I can include them, or if I don't need to use them, I can pull them. Because all of their uniforms are exactly the same, and one of the units is supposed to be a small unit, but I'm making all of these standard, I could pull, just using math here, I could pull one of the standards from each of these two standard size units, and then I could pull two bases out of this small unit and put it in them, and so they would have the full 6 bases but only one standard. Same with this one. Those 2 extra standards I would just put on the shelf, and on this one it would be down to 4 bases, and I would take one of the standards off of there. So basically I'm going to have 3 bases with standards sitting on the shelf. But if I ever needed to have 3 full-size units, I could just pull those standards, put them back in the unit, and they'll be running around with 2 standards like this. They'd be the exact same. Yeah. My tea's almost out too. I don't know if you can see down in there, but it's almost over. And we're going to hold off on cleaning the brushes until after we do the finals. If you guys want to do any chatting, any commenting, I do have the chat open over here, so I can actually glance up while I'm facing my workbench. I can actually just glance up and read it. And then I've got my stream software over here, so yeah. I'm just going to try to finish this tea real quick. Finished. I've noticed I've been doing a lot of drinking at my computer desk. A lot of hydrating. You know, it's probably part of my diabetes. You know, I've got a mild case of diabetes. It's very mild, so I have to just watch my diet and my sugar intake and stuff like that. But other than that, exercise and diet keeps that under control, so I don't need to take like insulin or anything like that. But I still have to pay attention, like when I have a wound, like when I get a cut or something, I really have to pay attention to it, because I can get infected really easily, because and it won't heal properly because of the sugar that doesn't get processed in my body prevents wound closure, basically. So just FYI for those of you out there that maybe eat a lot of candy and a lot of sugary things. Okay, so the reason why I brought that up is because I went and dug up my Legend of the Five Rings mug. This is a lion mug. When the Lion Clan, you know, when I owned my own game store, we would have Legend of the Five Rings card tournaments, and when they had certain tournaments, they would send certain prizes, and this basically I got one of each of the clans. So I got a crane and a lion and a phoenix and a crab and a, what's the other one? Lion, scorpion. Yeah, so I got one of each of those. Oh, and unicorn too, I think, at the time. And inside this is, I don't know how many ounces. It's got to be like 64 ounces or something. It's written on here somewhere. But it came with like inside this, it came with like decks of cards and booster packs and counters and tokens. And basically, it was a big, huge prize bundle. And I was able to win the lion one in my own tournament. So that's kind of I don't know. Maybe it should have been like I wasn't able to win, but I was. So I got some Gatorade in here. Yeah, and you can see how big this thing is. It's almost empty though, because I mixed that up last night. So 2006. It says 2006. Wait a second. Didn't I sell my store in 2002? Okay, I'm going crazy. Hold on, my store. I got out of the military, opened my store, kept it for about 7 years or so. I think it was about 2002 that I sold it. But that's got a copyright of 2006 on it. I'm now very confused. Okay, no worries. Okay, so I did get in. Let's talk about the flag finals. The finals are basically the rope cords that hang off of your spear tips. All the British and allies of the British had these finals, and they were gold. Okay, and so I got this other gold. It's up there, but it was 1.5 millimeters. Way too thick. Yeah, it's basically just so thick that when you put it on there, it's as thick as one of these guys' arms almost. It's not that bad, but pretty close to it. So I also ordered at the same time, because I thought the 1.5 might be too big. I went ahead and ordered the 1 millimeter at the same time, and this 1 millimeter gold cord is really, it's perfect, because it's made of a different material. Like that is made out of like cloth, hemp, ropey cord or whatever. This feels like it's more of a plastic or made out of something like that. Okay, so scissors. Nobody needs any stinking scissors. Okay, so I've tied a knot at the end of this cord. You can see some of the cord is extending past that. I want the knots to be about 60 millimeters apart. So 60, what am I saying? 10 millimeters, 10 centimeters or 100 millimeters, however you want to look at it, apart. That way, when I tie the knot and it shrinks them down to halvesies, they'll be under 25 millimeters. Under 50 millimeters. Wait. Oh, that's right. Not 100, 60. I was right the first time, right? So 60. So I got to get it so that when I cut it in half, it'll be about, not 30, because the knot will eat away a little bit of it. It'll be closer to 25. So just a simple half hitch. And then what I do is I put this on something easy to figure out. and then I slide the knot down until it's right at or close to, almost exactly. There we go. Okay, so the knots are about 60 millimeters apart. Okay, great. And then I will tie a second knot further in. Not much further, just a little bit further. Let me grab my scissors and I'll be right back. I left them on my workbench. All right, I'm going to switch glasses because this is so small. I need my Coke bottle glasses. These are my modeling, painting, hobby glasses. Okay, so I got a second knot. I'm going to do it again because I want two finals, one for each of these flags. Okay. Okay, I just made a mistake. I measured it from the wrong knot. There's a second knot right there. Okay, so that's no problem. We'll just consider this middle piece here kind of just wasted. And what I'll do is I'll measure from this end knot. Oh, what an idiot. Okay. Perfect. Now, I put one additional knot just past the last knot. That basically will seal the cord and it'll make it ready for the next final that I make. Okay, perfect. And again, this cord here only cost me like $6 to $7. I don't know how much it was, but it comes with 100 meters of it. So I'm never going to run out. Okay, so we cut a little bit past the knot here. That's going to be the first final. And then we cut a little bit past this knot here. And we'll have a little wastage. Okay, so we got some wastage. There is quite a bit of cord past the knot, but we'll get that fixed after we tie it all up. Okay, so we take one of these. Now, what I've been doing is I've been tying it up as a Prusik knot. So basically, I take the cord, I make a loop, right? And then I fold that loop back upon itself. And this is not even on the thing yet, right? And then like that, I would stick the spear tip through the hole and then come back out through the hole, and then I would tighten it up. Okay. And then I would just fiddle with it, tightening it up, pulling it against the metal rod, trying to get that knot as tight as possible. Okay. So that knot is pretty tight. So where did I put it? Up there. Okay. All right, now I'm going to take some super glue. In this case, I'm using DAP Rapid Fuse. Hey. Let me clean this out a little bit here. Oh my gosh, I hear my stomach. All right, and then I just put a little dot of Rapid Fuse right there on the knot and the final. Okay. Put it on both sides. Okay. Now at this point, I take the final and I pull it down against gravity, and I let the glue dry with the final being pulled down. And I pull it down pretty straight along the pole, and I just hold it there for a second. And just let the super glue dry in this position. And I've got some tight pressure pulling down on it. We'll give that like a minute. And so when I let it go, the finals are now pointing down and not straight out like they were. And you could fiddle around with it a little bit more if you want. You can even put some Elmer's glue on it, and then as the Elmer's glue starts to dry, you can form this into wind-swept finals. Okay, now at this point is when I take the scissors and I go in and I trim so that there's about 2 or 3 millimeters past the knot. There you go. So you got the knot. Basically, I just touch them with some super glue to keep the end knots from coming untied. And leaving it like that is just fine because it looks like it's blowing in the wind. All right. Okay, let's try to do that with the second one as well. Follow along. Make a loop. Fold the loop back upon itself, creating two loops. In and out. And then we tighten it up. Give it just a little touch of glue. And we take the finals and we pull them down for gravity along the pole. We hold it, letting the glue dry. This is the part that takes so long, is you got to sit there and let it dry. And then you got your finals hanging down towards gravity. And then cut off the tips. Oh, that was probably way too much. Okay, there we go. And then you'll just let it sit. And that's how you do the finals on the standards. Now, There you go. That looks a lot better. All right, let me go ahead and put these guys up. And I'll be right back. All right, what do we want to talk about next? Oh yeah, kingdoms and cleaning the brushes. This feels like it's almost all gone. Yeah, I had to pull my power strip out for the kettle. Let's clean some brushes. Okay, I just turned on the kettle. It usually takes 3 or 4 minutes for the water to heat up. So while we're waiting for the water to heat up, I'm going to put the hot water, the boiling water, into this cup. We're going to let our brushes soak in the hot water, which will allow the residual paints or whatever is on these brushes break up. Okay, so now I'm going to show you a fairly bad brush. Probably one of my worst brushes in here. I don't know, there's a few of them that are pretty bad. Okay, we're going to take a look at that. ProArt is a brush company that I really trust quite a bit. Quite a lot, actually. I've ordered a number of their paint kits. They've got these like 7 to 9 brushes in a package, and they're all miniature painting brushes and round brushes, and they go from 5.0 up to, they got 5.0, 3.0, and O, and those are the brushes that I use 90% of the time. Okay, so we're going to work on this brush, and I don't know if you can see, you can kind of see how that brush it doesn't have any detail to it. I probably could zoom the camera back a little bit. Let's see if I can do that. I don't mean zoom, I mean focus. That's pretty good. So, whoops, let's get this out of the way so I can see what I'm doing. Okay, so you can kind of see this brush. This is not a fine tip in any way, shape, or fashion. We're going to get that fixed. Okay, I hear the boiling. Let me go grab it. All right, let me go put this kettle back. That kettle's Hamilton Beach. Okay. So the first and most simple step is just to put your brush in the water, right? And you don't even really have to, move it around or nothing. Just let it soak. Let it heat up the bristles. And what happens is the bristles will start to separate. You'll start to see the bristles starting to do this, which is a good thing, because then it's getting into all the paint that got into your flume and got into the bristles, causing it to causing your fine tip brush to kind of separate, right? Okay, so now this water being boiling, it's not boiling right now because obviously it's not in the kettle, but what I do with it now that it's wet and opened, I take a wet brush into my brush soap. This brush soap, brush cleaner, and preserver, oil, acrylics, stains, watercolors, it works. Okay, so I just move it around. Sometimes I'll spin it up against the edge of the container. I don't know, the lighting on my video just doesn't seem very good. Let's see if I can't fix any of that. Part of that is I can't see the monitor with my Coke bottle glasses. I got to constantly switch back and forth. Yeah, you can't even see inside that. Would that be saturation? No. Okay, you can see in there with low contrast. That's good. Well, it's hard to see the soap with this lighting, I guess. But I take the brush, I mix it in there. It gets quite a bit of the goopy soap on there. And then I spin it and twirl it along the edge of the container. And then what I do is I put it back into the hot water. And I swirl it and spin it against the edge of the cup as well. And this is like a 2 or 3 step process. So hot water, then soap all around the brush, twirling it along the edge, trying to get whatever paint residue is on the bristles to actually be washed off. That's the idea. Okay. Now that I've done that 3 or 4 times, or 2 or 3 times actually, then I will put a little soap on the bristles just to let it rest. And then I'll also kind of draw it across the paper to kind of get it, and I'm spinning it in my fingers, trying to get the point to be restored. It's pretty good actually. And I'll leave the soap on it. Some of these I've already done. Let's take one that's like really bad. Hot water. Let it sit. Let it actually build up the heat. This water will cool off and it will become not hot, and you're going to have to refresh it with some more hot water. I think I can do 3 or 4 brushes with one amount of hot water. Now you could use microwave and microwave the water or whatever. It's just that I had a kettle sitting there, so why not use it? I don't know how much of this brush I'm going to be able to restore. It seemed like it was in pretty bad shape. But we're going to see. You can see this, the water is starting to get milky. It's because of the soap, obviously. Okay. Okay, that's 3 times. That should be okay on this brush. Now I'm gonna put a little soap on the brush. Give it a little bit of coat. And then what I do is I roll it up on the paper towel to get the brush to kind of give me a tip. What do you think? I think it's okay. And then you let it sit like that with the soap on it. The soap will actually kind of harden and get your brush to reshape itself, basically. Remember where it belongs. Yeah, too bad you can't really see inside there, but boy, my stomach. Can you hear that? My mic is right next to my stomach, so you should be able to hear that. Yeah, the water's starting to cool off quite a bit. What do you think from that last picture of the brush? It's pretty good. These brushes are all kind of looking like they're straight up and down, right? Gotta let it soak in the water a little bit. Let the heat get in there and separate the bristles. And we go with the soap. tighter, but I don't know if that's good enough. I'm gonna have to maybe do it one more time. Plus the water is not super hot. Yeah, it's kind of lukewarm. All right, and that's how basically how you refresh your brushes. I'm not going to do all my brushes on video today. But I basically do that about once a month. I'll go through and hit up all my brushes to make sure that they are still firing on all cylinders. All right, let me go ditch this water and I'll be right back. Okay, this thing's almost empty. Yep, it's empty. Excuse me. All right, I think before we do any painting, it's 12 o'clock. Okay. Yeah, before we do any painting, I want to talk a little bit about the Oathmark Kingdoms. Just a little bit. Okay, as you know, Oathmark is, okay, my focus on that is way off. All right, so as you probably already know, I'm a big. I'm not going to say I'm a big. I'm going to say that I've fallen in love with Oathmark, and I'm going to kind of try to explain one of the reasons why I like the game so much. There's building an army, right? Building an army. But the first step to building an army is you have to create a kingdom, right? The kingdom has a chart in the back or on the website. You can go download it and print it. That's what I plan to do. You have something called a kingdom sheet, right? And this kingdom sheet right there has a bunch of circles. And the center circle is where your capital city goes. And then as you work your way out, you have circle 2, 3, 4, and then there's circle 5. You don't put anything in circle 5. Circle 5 is used during campaigns when you're taking over territories and stuff like that. So, which I think is also kind of cool. Every kingdom can use every army's troop, basically. So what you do is you build your own army list. So the way you do that is you put, like, let's just use human as an example, because human's the default. The terrain list, okay, they give you a list of terrain. The terrain list is based on your major nation, like dwarf, human, elf, orc, whatever. When you pick your terrain list, you pick a terrain list, and then you put the terrain types have rarities on them, and the rarities, 1, 2, and 3. So you can put rarity 1 into the circle that only has one circle. So your capital city, and this one they call it the human city. Now on the second row out, that can be rarity 2, or you can choose rarity 1 from any other terrain. So it's always one less. So by the time I get out to the third row, it'll be, I can put human rarity 3 or any nation's rarity 2 in my kingdom. So hypothetically, if I'm making a human terrain, human kingdom, I could pick a dwarven rarity 2 in my third circle. So I could put a lumberyard or a mountain pass or something like that in there. Now in your fourth rank, your fourth circle, you can put any terrain that you want, because there's no rarity 4. There's only rarity 3 or less. So I could put, and yes, I could put a dwarven lumberyard in there, and then I could also put an orc dungeon in there if I wanted, or an orc river, let's say orc river. So when I go to build my army, because this is the kingdom, when I go to build the army, I look at what terrain that I have selected for my kingdom, and each of these terrain pieces tell me what kind of troops I can have. That's the most important thing. So like this dwarven lumberyard allows me to make dwarf catapults. The Orc River lets me have 6 trolls. So these are things that I would write down under I would make up like a little potential list of armies, like an army list. Like I'm allowed to have 6 trolls. I'm allowed to have a dwarven catapult. I'm allowed to have my human spellcasters or 6 ogres or a giant or whatever other pieces of terrain that I picked from the human terrain list. I could even put elf, I don't know, elf, dark forests, and then that means I could have 6 giant spiders, and I could do all that for as a human army. I think that's really cool. That means no human army is the same. No human army list is the same because no kingdom is going to be the same. I think that's pretty cool. Yeah. So, I need to do a video, part of my boot camp on how to build a kingdom and how to build an army. Yeah, that's super cool. But I haven't really. I still need to do a video on the advanced rules, and the advanced rules is really talking about the commanders, like generals, champions, spellcasters, stuff like that. So once I get that out of the way, then I will assemble an army or a kingdom, show people how to build kingdoms, and then how to use that kingdom to build their army. Yeah, so I think that's really cool about that. All right, let's go ahead and do a little bit of painting today. I started these guys last night. Well, I cleaned them and put them on their popsicle sticks the night before, and then I primed them, painted their pants and their shoes yesterday. And so let's go ahead and continue on. Today, or on this video, I don't think I'm going to get a chance to paint too much. We don't have that much time. So I think I'm going to paint their shakos and then flesh. I think that's the next step. So the shakos are going to be black, and I'm going to use my giant black mixed with water, and then but I'm going to need something to drink. Talking takes a lot out of me. I don't know, I'm looking at my canned drinks. I could go grab a can, or we could make some tea, or I could make some Tang. Let's do some Tang. I got some instant Tang. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go take my jug. We're going to go fill it up with water, and then I will be back. I'm going to take a break here just for a minute. It might be 2 or 3 minutes while I get some liquids, and then we'll get started painting. right, give me 2 more seconds and I'll be right back. See if this helps with my stomach. These are those Pepto liquid gels. Liquid caps. Okay, whatever that means. Isn't that the same thing? I guess they're capsules. They're also super large. They're the size of a dragon egg. No, I don't know. Yeah, I put some ice in this as well. Okay. Let's get rolling. All right. Really? Come on. All right, we got some black in our palette. We get some water. That might have been too much. Let's drop just a little bit more black to balance that out. Let's stir it up. Which I don't think you can really see what's going on here. And I think this microphone's going to be in the way. And you can see that there's like no room for me to move these figures. Normally what I do is I'll have a group, and then as I finish them, I'll slide them off to the side. I don't really have that opportunity to do that here. So what we're going to do is we'll slide them forward as I get them done. Now, when I'm painting these, I don't even consider my plume, and I don't even consider the flesh. I basically just go for a complete covering, and it should go by pretty quick because like I'm not trying to paint in the numbers. Like I'm not avoiding the flesh, I'm not avoiding the plume. And the plate, the metallic plate that's on the front of the Shako, I'm painting it black because in my experience, metallic colors like silver and gold, brass and bronze and all those, they like to go on top of black a lot easier than any other color. Oh yeah, I wanted to put this out as well. You guys are aware that what reminded me was I just heard a mailman go across the street, but I haven't received my GMB flag order yet, and I ordered that over a month ago, and I haven't received it yet. I anticipate it showing up any day now, to be honest. I hope you guys can see what I'm doing. If you can't, that's too bad. There you go. I got an email from them on the 13th saying the order is complete, which means to me that they've shipped it. So, and you can hear the lawnmower outside. Yeah, the 13th. What is today? The 29th? What is today? Yeah, the 29th. So it's been in the mail service for what, 16 days? That's okay. That's reasonable. Coming from the UK. Normally I would get it in about 2 weeks once it's shipped. But with everything else that's going on in the world, I understand. I think our postage service is going a little bit slower now. Normally, if I prime using black, then I don't have to paint the shakos. What I do is I just leave the primer, right? And the primer's black. But if I make any mistakes, like I paint the plume or I paint the flesh, and I accidentally hit the shako where it doesn't belong, then I'll go back and touch up black, especially like on backpacks and stuff like that. But in this case, won't have to do that. Now these are front rank models, and they come from 3 different sets. One of the sets was marching, another set was advancing, and another set was firing. I don't know what that forklift sound is outside. Yeah, I don't know what that sound is. But yeah, the firing package comes with like half of the guys firing, you know, like this guy, and then the other half loading, you know, like that guy. So what I think I'm going to do is I think I'm going to put the firing guy in the front rank and the loading guy in the second rank. I don't think I'm going to mix it up, you know, like random. I don't think so. I think I'm going to have it more uniform, even though it is a militia. These are militia. I probably could get away with it being all mixed up. Actually, I probably should do it all mixed up, but I'm not. I'm gonna do the front rank firing and the second rank loading. What that's going to mean is there's going to be a lot of muskets sticking out the front of the unit. So if and when they ever go to close combat, I'm going to have to fiddle around with these muskets, not, you know, jamming into another unit. Starting to think there wasn't enough water. There wasn't enough flow on this black. It was too thick. Also, when your paint is thick, that's when you start to see streaks. But when the flow is just right, like it is right now, you get good coverage, less streaks. Okay, the second pack is marching, and so they'll all be shoulder arms with their muskets. So organizing that unit is going to be pretty self-explanatory. I noticed that the officers are different. You get two different officers in each pack, and one of them has one epaulet and the other one has two epaulets. So I'm sure it has something to do with rank, obviously, but trying to determine which one is which is going to be part of my assembly process. Also, not everybody's wearing these stovepipes. Some of the command element, the officers, have these Dutch shakos, these shakos that are really wide at the top. That's a specific style of shako, and I can't remember what it's called, but basically like that. Kind of looks Hungarian in a way because it's got like a tail in the back. Maybe the Dutch and the Hungarians use the same shako. Yeah, I almost did the shakos last night, when I was doing their shoes, because it all would have been black, and it would just been continuing on with the black. But instead of mixing up more black to paint the Shakos, I decided just to go to bed. Also, like swords and bayonets, I'll paint black for that very same reason of the metallics, because my metallic silver will go on top of black a lot easier than, let's say, blue primer. For those of you that know me, you know I really don't like doing 3 battalions at once. I prefer to just do 2 battalions. But because these are the last units of my Netherlands divisions, and they're all the same, I said, you know, I could just knock these out. It'll only take like an extra day, and then bam, everything will be done for that division. Yeah, I was going to say something. What was I going to say? Oh, let's talk a little bit about something other than miniatures here. Just a second. Let me take a sip first. All right, that's 1 battalion Shakos. So as you know, on Thursdays we stream role-playing games. Well, like D&D or Traveler. And I'm using Roll20. It's an online tabletop, right? It's a virtual tabletop for the players to like roll their stats and roll ability checks and stuff like that, skill checks. And they get to see the map and move tokens around on the map and stuff like that. Well, that's great. We lost some players in both games. Mainly one player decided that he wanted to move on, didn't enjoy the games anymore or something, right? So he just bailed on us. Now, that's okay. You know, everybody's got their own opinions and their own likes and stuff like that. And if he doesn't like the game, I don't want to force him to play with us. I mean, he definitely is very quirky and has his own belief structure and how a game's supposed to be played. He reminded me of when I was 16. The type of things I expected from a role-playing game is what he expects. But okay, but that's not the point I was trying to make. So basically what that means is we have openings in the game, right? Okay. And so I put out a notification saying, hey, if you're interested in this game, you know, we got openings. Okay, so I get replies, and I'm gonna do this as a broad statement because it happened more than once. I would get a reply saying, oh, I'm very interested. Okay. And then a day or two later, I would send them a response saying, oh, I'm glad you're interested. You know, hey, this is what we can do to make a character and when we can meet and blah, blah, blah. And I would get a response back saying, oh, never mind, I've already joined another group. Okay. So that tells me something. That tells me, one, either you weren't really that interested, you were just looking for a group, and you saw that we were one, and so you probably put your feelers out for multiple groups and hoping one of them would respond. So, and then me being the kind of person that waits 2 or 3 days before I respond, which I'm very glad that I do that now, because that tells me they weren't very interested in the first place. And it happened a number of times. So what I'm trying to get at is, it's hard to find someone, or I should say, I'm not going to say it's hard. I'm going to say it's challenging to find someone who is committed to your game or your style of play, because they would say, hey, we're interested, let's, when can we get together and make a character? Or I've already got 100 characters and can I bring one of them? That's always a negative. That's always a no. But and I'm sure there are game masters out there that allow that kind of power gaming, but that's not what we do here. So I say, hey, this is when we can meet. And they're like, okay, let's meet. So then they don't show up to the game or the character creation process. And I'm like, what the hell? And I notify them, hey, we had this game scheduled for you to come and play, make a character. Oh, I decided I was just going to play this other game instead. Ooh, boy. First of all, you didn't tell me. You just let me sit there for an hour waiting for you to show up. So there's no respect there. No courtesy, I should say. And then what's going on in my head is I'm glad I didn't spend time making a character with that guy. Because he's just going to be like the other guy that just bailed on the game when it got uncomfortable. Or when he didn't get what he wanted. And I come from a generation of gamers that believes the game master's word is law. You're a referee. It's your world. If you say one thing, but I've read in the books that it says something different, I'm not going to come out and say, well, actually, the book says something different. No, that's not the kind of... yeah, I don't know. Hey, we got a chat. I can't read it with these glasses. It's all blurry. It's one reason why I don't read chat is because I have to switch glasses all the time. And lean in. King Matt the Superior. Hey, King. No, these are Dutch Belgians. They're actually Dutch militia. Back to my painting glasses. Old Dutch militia. What I'm painting right now is Shakos. And I'm painting... I don't know why I'm taking my time not to hit the flesh and not to hit the pom-pom when I said at the beginning that I don't care about the flesh or the pom-pom because I'm going to be painting those later. I need to just slather the black onto these Shakos and let it be. Yeah, so I just realized I was being too much of a prude in painting in the lines. I need to stop that. Yeah, I'm painting the 3 battalions that of Dutch militia that were at Quatre Bras. What is that? The 6th, 7th, and 8th, I think is what it was, or the 5th, 7th, and 8th. I can't remember. But yeah, they all basically have the exact same uniform. There's a little variety. I put a couple of them with white pants and a couple of them with brown pants. And the brown pants I decided because they were militia I was going to throw a couple of them in there. And the white pants is because those are holdovers from previous eras. Now, I could have painted whole battalions with the same color of pants, like white pants in this one battalion and gray pants in another battalion, but I felt that wouldn't be very militia-like. That would have been too organized. I like my militia to be a little bit on the ragtag look. Now I have a bridge. I did get the Warlord bridge in, the stone bridge. I'm gonna assemble that as a video. It's gonna be a product review kind of video, and that should be within the week probably. Because I think it's going to be real simple to put together and real simple to paint, and so it should make for a pretty easy video to make. Yeah, stone color with washes, highlights, and then it'll be done. I'm thinking. I could be wrong because I haven't opened the package yet, but it looks like it's going to be pretty easy to put together. I also have a Perry medieval cottage. I want to do that as well on video as a product review. Mainly because I could use it. I can use medieval cottages in my Napoleonics. That's no problem. But mainly for my Oathmark. Just to have additional Oathmark terrain. Because right now, all my terrain is either World War II or Napoleonic. There's a little bit of medievals up there, but not much. I don't have any fantasy terrain, you know, like a wizard's tower or anything like that. Also, speaking of black and metallics, and since I got this guy in my hand, this standard bearer, I like to paint the spear tips, what do they call them? The spear tips black, and then I paint down a ways, you know, like 5mm or something like that, onto the shaft. And then when I go to paint the gold on the spear tip, I usually only paint about 4mm, leaving a little bit of black showing between the spear shaft and the metal. It's kind of like black lining, but reverse black lining. Okay, picked up the pace on the Shakos. Now that I reminded myself that I don't need to worry about the flesh or the pom-pom, just put the black on there. Just get it on there. Yeah, I played that computer game Scourge of War, and I've got the Waterloo edition with the Quatre Bras expansion, and I played, not too recently, but I played the scenario where I think it's Bylance Brigade, and I think these militia guys are actually in Bylance Brigade, and they held their own. They defended really well. I don't think they ran. I think the 27th Jaegers ran. The line unit held and the militia unit held. But I think the Jaegers ran, or at least they fell back. And then when I played the scenario right after that, where you're supposed to play Uxbridge and his cavalry, and you're supposed to press the French positions, that got out of control. I mean, I lost control of my brigades and my regiments and everything. They were all over the place. So, but that's probably accurate with the British cavalry. They're not known for their discipline. I finished, for the store, I finished some Russian paratroopers. I actually had a commission to do like 40 Russian paratroopers, and he sent me one of his squads to do, and then I had to just fill out the rest with inventory that I had, which is fine because I build them for it, obviously. But I had an extra box, so instead of just doing 40, I went ahead and did 50. And then, and if you go to my eBay store, you'll be able to see a squad of 10 on there. Russian paratroopers are pretty cool looking. I painted the metal warlord ones, warlord games. I also had a commission to paint a the Jagdtiger. That was pretty cool. I videotaped that and put that up on the channel. So if you wanted to see open boxing review of the figures, or I should say the sprues inside the box, plus the assembly of the model is the second video, and then painting of the model is the third video. I think it turned out really good. I was extremely pleased with myself. Unfortunately, it was a commission, so I didn't get to keep it. I had to mail it back to the guy. And but that just gives me an idea, so when I paint it for the store, I know exactly how I'm going to do it, because basically exactly the same way as I did it with him. Okay, Shaco's almost done. These guys have a lot of hair showing. So that's definitely going to be a necessity, is to paint their hair. We're not going to leave their hair blue. That'll be, you know, they're not Democrats. Okay. Glad they're done outside mowing. Oh, and the last battalion shows them advancing, right? So half of them have the muskets at port arms, you know, which is up and across their body. And the other half has it down at charging, which is like lowered horizontal to the ground, ready to bayonet a fool. It looks like I'm going to have a little extra black in my palette, so I'm probably going to touch up some things that need to be black, like bayonets, getting it ready for the metallic colors. The bayonets, the spear tips on the standards. I'd love to do like their sword sheaths on the elite companies. We'll see what I've got left once I get the bayonets. Oh yeah, I forgot the cartridge box. That's another thing that needs to be black. Actually, I might do the cartridge box. Yeah, I'm really glad that I discovered the double-sided tape technique for holding figures down to my popsicle sticks. It really speeds the process up. Adds a little cost, not much, negligible, but it does speed the process up quite a bit. Instead of, because I used to put drops of Elmer's glue down and then put the figure down, let it dry, then paint it, and then I would have to pop the popsicles. I'd have to pop the figures off of the popsicle sticks, leaving glue residue, and then I would have to shave the glue residue off of the popsicle stick with an X-Acto so that I could reuse the popsicle stick. And now all I do is cut out a little piece of 3M tape, stick it on there. When the figure is done, peel it off, throw it away, and I'll have a clean popsicle stick. so that I could reuse it. Okay, since I got quite a bit of this black left over, what we'll do is we'll rest my fingers. Rest the brush a little bit. Yeah, my fingers are starting to get a little... All right, now normally we only live stream up till about 1 o'clock. So this is a great time for me to end the stream. I'm going to go on to finish that and finish these models, and in the next few days I'll be uploading a Waterloo project update showing you what these guys look like. All right, guys. Well, thanks for coming out and watching the stream. I appreciate you guys. And I appreciate everybody that's put info onto my poll, onto my community tab on my channel. I really appreciate those. That input, that really helps me out on knowing what I need to paint and what I need to sell on my store. I can't thank you enough for that. I appreciate that. All right, if you want to support the channel, hit the donate button or the money icon or whatever it is below. And I will see you next Wednesday if I don't see you before then. All right, catch you later.